Hey guys, what's up? It's Molly, and today we're going to be talking about the joys of photography. Before we get into it, remember to drop a like on this video, and if you don't, you will not be able to take a good photo for the rest of your life. No joke, no scam. So please drop a like so that does not happen. I would hate for that to happen to you guys. But anyways, let's just jump right into it. Being able to take somewhat decent photos is kind of a blessing and a curse. Every time someone finds out I do photography, the first thing they always ask me is, let me see the photos. So I go to my Instagram, show them the photos, and normally, like, if they're not in the photography, they're just going to be like, oh, that's cool, and just kind of give it a mediocre response, which is just kind of sucks, kind of hurts the ego a little bit. But if someone's in the photography, they'll be asking, like, crazy questions. Like, you'll immediately know they're into photography because they'll start asking, like, crazy questions, like, what's the lens? Like, what ISO do you shoot at? And to be honest, I'm just kind of at the point where, like, I know what those mean, but I really got no fucking clue. I can't remember that stuff. I'm not smart enough to remember, like, what kind of ISO, what shutter speed I use. I just start bullshitting. I'm like, oh, I kind of use, like, a medium range ISO and, like, stuff like that. But then they start pressing me, dude. They're like, okay, what kind of lens did you use and all this stuff. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't know. Like, I just shoot photos casually. And I edit them, like, in Darktable afterwards so they look better. Like, I'm not a crazy photographer or anything, but, like, when you say you're a photographer, it carries, like, this weight to it, or it's like this importance where people are like, oh my god, like, you're a professional. It's like, no, like, I can be a photographer and be shit at it, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. So obviously, when it comes to taking photos for the friend group, I'm normally the guy they go to, which is great. That gives me more opportunities to practice my photography, kind of perfect the craft a little bit, but it also sucks because there's so much pressure that I have on myself to perform. Most of my friends work a job, so they actually have to plan around this, and they're like, okay, you got to be here at 5, and then we're going to go to this spot, we're going to go to that spot, we're going to take some photos, we're going to do some rollers, and I'm down for it normally. But the problem is, I'm just not that good, straight up. I'm just mediocre as hell. So I rock up with my camera I didn't even buy. So some of you may be wondering, like, oh, how'd you get your cameras? Like, you must be rich. Nah, dude. I got my first camera from my dad. It was a super old camera, digital camera, that he just handed down to me because he ended up getting a new camera. And then my other camera, my film camera, that I rarely use just because it's so freaking expensive to actually shoot film. I traded a t-shirt for it. To be honest, the phones they come out with now are probably better than my cameras. So normally what happens is we rock up to the spot that we're going to take car photos, because you can't just take a car anywhere. You can't just go to the fucking grassy field or a hill. Like, they have to be on, like, either a road or accessible by a road, right? So that kind of severely limits your options of where these photos can be taken. And normally the good spots are like parks or, like, parking lots, right, where there's a lot of people. And, sometimes you just don't get lucky. You roll up and it looks like Tilted Towers, bro. There's just people everywhere, and it's just like, nope, it's going to be a Photoshop nightmare. So let's just get out of here. And then you just go around to different spots, and it's kind of the same for every spot. You just get there, and it's not good for some freaking reason. And then finally you get to the right spot. By this time, it's like you've burned so much daylight, it's starting to get dark. And this is, like, in summer, too. So it's late. We've been doing this for, like, 3 hours at this point. It's starting to get a little bit dark, which just makes, if you know anything about photography, when it starts getting dark, it makes photography like 10 times harder. It might make it look cooler, but you have to mess with a lot of settings to make the photo actually look good because you're dealing with a lower light situation, right? So, anyways, we get there, taking some photos, doing my best, and then we get the photos, and I go home, and I take the SD card out of my camera, I plug it into my computer, and all the photos are just dog shit, bro. They're just dog shit. I'm just looking at it. I'm just in shambles, absolutely in shambles, looking at these photos. And then, right as I'm looking and sobbing about the photos, I get a call from the buddy who I just took photos of his car. And he's like, yo, when can you send me the photos? Like, did they turn out well? And I'm just like, I just kind of laugh. I kind of lied to him. I say, yeah, they turned out fine. I'm just gonna have to edit them. I'm just gonna have to do a lot of editing work, right? And he's like, okay, bet, just send me to when you can. And I hang up, damn well knowing I'm not gonna send those photos because they are so bad. And there's this thing in photography. It's like, I don't even know what the percentage is. But, like, you take 100 photos, you might use 10. Like, you might just only use 10% of the photos that you take that are actually good enough to be edited. And then of those that are good enough to be posted is even a smaller fraction. So then, like, he keeps calling you up. He keeps spam texting you, like, yo, where are these photos? Where are these photos? And you keep telling him, like, I'm editing them, bro. I'm editing. They're, like, deep in editing right now. Like, I'm still figuring out the software, whatever bullshit I can mess her up. And he just keeps spamming me. And then eventually I have to hit him with, like, hey, I need more photos, dude. I tell him the exact same thing I just told you guys. I'm like, only a small percentages are actually usable, and then that only can be posted. So, like, we just need more photos. And this cycle just keeps repeating. Some would call it an addiction, but this cycle just keeps repeating. And, sometimes you do get good photos, and sometimes you don't. And that's just kind of how photography is. And, yeah, I fucking like it, so it's probably watching this video right now. He's probably going to be pretty upset when the next time I see him, but it's all right. It's all right. And, you know, it is what it is. Finally knows the truth. I'm just not good at photography. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for today. So thank you for watching. Hope you guys dropped that like, because if you didn't, you're going to be shooting photography like Helen Keller. So anyways, hope you guys have a blessed night, and I'll catch you in the next one.